Washington Football Maniacs.
Hey everybody, this is Greg, and of course this is the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel and Rumble channel. A lot of times I'll post these on Rumble as well. This channel is normally dedicated to news and commentary about the Washington Commanders. Today it's not. It is about the NFL, but it's something I needed to get off my chest. With all that said, please consider subscribing to this channel if you're enjoying it. If you're actually able to see these videos, please consider subscribing. And of course, when you do, hit the notification bell so you will be notified when I release other videos. I want to talk about the halftime performance, the halftime talent that's coming up for this year's Super Bowl that the NFL decided would be the perfect artist to put in front of America. I'm talking about Bad Bunny. Now, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was prior to all of this, and so I had to kind of look him up. And, very anti-American, very anti, I don't know, just establishment, which I will say a lot of music I grew up listening to, maybe not grew up, but definitely like in my teens and stuff, loved, always migrated toward anti-establishment music, right? Because that, angry metal and other rock music and things like that, that was, against the Big Brother and all that stuff. Yeah, I loved it. Of course, that's kind of what kids go after. But this guy, of course, he's against Donald Trump. Okay, whatever. A lot of people are. He's against MAGA. Again, a lot of people are. And he's against ICE, and he talks about being afraid of living in the country with ICE. I'm like, dude, if you're, number one, you're a celebrity. Number two, you're living legally in the country. So what do you have to fear? I don't understand it. I even saw a video of Shakira coming out. I love Shakira. She came out and she talked about being afraid of living in the country because of ICE. And I'm like, what are you afraid of? I mean, if you're here legally, you're not going to be deported. Celebrities, they live in their own bubbles. But anyway, I started digging in and reading up on some stuff with Bad Bunny, and it's not just him being anti-establishment. Actually, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. It doesn't bother me that he's got a different political leaning than how I believe. I mean, everybody has their opinions. What really bothers me is the fact that he tends to mix in a lot of demonic type of imagery and things like that in his performances. Again, he cross dresses, so he's trying to push the trans ideology on to people, and quite frankly, most normal people have gotten really sick of having that stuff, just shoved down their throats, and I just don't care for any of it. And the fact that we're in this political climate where people have said enough is enough. That's the reason why they voted for Donald Trump. I don't even think that half the people who voted for Donald Trump even likes Donald Trump, but they voted for him. And with everything that's happened, the attempt on Donald Trump's life, the successful attempt that took Charlie Kirk out, with all of that going on, the NFL decides that in this tone-deaf message that they are going to put in front of us Bad Bunny. And, the NFL has been kind of tone-deaf anyway, but they've also made it extremely clear what their political stance is. And I hate it when pro sports leagues and organizations decide that they are going to put out political statements. The reason why that I watch the NFL is because I love football, and football is my escape from all of the, lack of better terms, crap that I have to put up with, looking at the news, stuff I have put up with at work, stuff that just, gives me high anxiety. It's my escape from all that. Of course, then you may ask, well, okay, but then you watch the Washington Commanders, who they tend to give us high anxiety all the time. So I don't understand your thinking, Greg. Yeah, you got a good point there, but I think what I'm trying to say is that it's my escape from reality. And then when they try to become political, just like the NBA became so political and so liberal, I stopped watching the NBA, honestly. I stopped watching the NBA when Michael Jordan retired. I watched it a little bit when Kobe was still playing, but yeah, once Michael Jordan retired, it really wasn't as exciting to me anymore. And so, but I've always been a football fan first, and I've not been able to bring myself to doing any type of boycotts or anything like that. I'll admit it. It's probably would be a great thing for me to boycott the NFL and send them a message like they are worried about what one little no-name YouTuber is talking about. Oh man, the Maniacs are going to boycott the NFL. We can't have this. We're going to have to reverse all of our thoughts and so forth. My point is that the NFL, clearly are very biased against certain groups of people, right? I mean, when the George Floyd thing happened a few years ago, suddenly they had to honor George Floyd. They had to, start painting in racism and all this stuff in the back of the end zone, and all of the players had to wear certain phrases and things like that on the back of their helmets, and they had to carry the message of love. Now, don't get me wrong, racism is bad. I don't support it, but I also think that not just one group of people are guilty of racism, and we're not going to get into all that. But I'm just saying that the NFL went out of their way to push that whole message during the George Floyd thing. Fast forward to present times when Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, and because that Charlie Kirk was more right leaning, he was actually more of a moderate, but because he was more right leaning, suddenly there's nothing. Like the NFL says, we are not going to have any messages about Charlie Kirk whatsoever. If individual franchises, organizations, teams want to have their own message, that's fine. They have the right to do so. But we as a league, not going to support it, even though they support George Floyd. And so being with all those events that have happened recently, the NFL sends this message that, you know what, Bad Bunny, boom, we're going to have him as the halftime talent. And what a message that the NFL is sending, that it doesn't care, obviously, it cares about your money, but it doesn't really care about everybody. There's only a certain group of people that's going to cater to, and that's it. Even though that there is a very diverse group of people who watch the NFL, who support the NFL, who spends big money on the NFL, they're not going to consider, okay, at least we should have done the same thing with the Charlie Kirk thing that we did with George Floyd. Maybe we should, have put messages out about, we got to get back to loving America or something like that. But no, nothing like that. Bad Bunny. And why am I so upset about it? Well, again, Bad Bunny is not an appropriate halftime talent for young kids to view. It's pushing a trans ideology. It's pushing the message of hating your country. It's pushing the message of hating the other side that thinks differently from you politically. And being the fact that there has been some violence toward right-leaning people, that they feel like, let's just keep throwing gasoline to the fire, and this is just going to make it worse. And I really believe that. And that's the reason why I'm upset about it. Now, I stopped watching the Super Bowl halftimes years ago. It's probably been decades. I can't tell you who has performed. Maybe bits and pieces. I know you had all of the hip hop rap artists on one stage a few years ago. You had J Lo and Shakira at one point. I think Rihanna probably did it at one point. But I can't tell you. I can't remember any of the performance at all. I really can't. And I just you know, it also seemed like there were political messages and stuff like this, and I finally got to the point where I was tired of listening to it and tired of watching it. I'll watch the game, but after that, I'll go take a bathroom break, refill my drink, eat a few more Super Bowl snacks and things like that, and enjoy my time with my friends and my family. But as far as the halftime, not really caring about that as much. Other than the game itself, I like watching the commercials that come out. But the Super Bowl halftimes have just been completely lame to me. Now, I know that I'm going to get some backlash from that, but I mean, come on. We preach diversity in America, but yet there's no diversity in the Super Bowl halftime. There's not been none. That's probably a triple negative, but there hasn't been any diversity whatsoever. And quite frankly, I've grown tired of it. And I felt like I need to get it off my chest. I need to say something. Some fans are going to be upset. They're going to unsubscribe, which is very fine because this channel's been dead for the last several months anyway. I sometimes wonder why I keep even posting videos because YouTube doesn't push them. But, so be it. Had to say it. I'm standing my ground. This is what I believe. This is not going to turn into a political channel. Believe me, I'm going to have other channels that you can turn to if you want to follow me. But I just needed to say, because that this did have something to do with the NFL, I feel like the NFL is tone deaf. I feel like they have sent the wrong message. They're doubling down on the left rhetoric, and it is not a good thing. It's not a good look for the NFL. And I would not be surprised if between now and the Super Bowl, they don't maybe reverse their decision because of sponsors, because of the backlash. And if they don't, then that tells you all you need to know about Roger Goodell. All right, that's it. I'm done with this.